Nancy Desjardins, and welcome to my greenhouse. Today I would like to share with you how you can start growing your own food in your kitchen, in your backyard, even if you have a small space to begin with. And I didn't always have the greenhouse. I mean, we had the greenhouse for the last 2 years, but the reason why we have the greenhouse is my husband and I, we moved to the cottage, and we have to drive 90 minutes to get some decent organic produce. And I said, the heck with that, we need to find a solution. So the greenhouse allowed me to start growing certain herbs or greens earlier, so I can plant them in the garden for the summer. So 90% of our produce in the summertime is coming from the garden. And so let me start here. Again, you don't have to be, it's not to get overwhelmed with the amount of greens that I have in the greenhouse. But like I mentioned, I didn't always start with a greenhouse. So when I first start gardening, I start with something really simple, was with herbs. I mean, herbs it's so simple to grow. So what I did is, just to show you an example, is, let's say instead of a flower pot outside beside, like on your patio door, if you're limited with space, start with herbs. I mean, here I have a combination of cilantro, the parsley, I have some thyme here, we have dill, we have basil and oregano. I don't plant the seeds in this large pot. What I do is I would start with single seeds in a smaller container, and then I transplant those into a larger container with different herbs. So this would be the basil. So again, it's very simple to do. But now let me give you a little tour of the greenhouse. So what I'm about to plant this weekend, it's a long weekend, so tomorrow I'm going to start planting my greens and my herbs in the garden. So we have the green mustard. I grow a lot of greens in the garden. So the green mustard, there's no comparison. This one, there's no comparison to the one that you would buy at the grocery store. They're bitter, but they taste really, they taste really good, and it's really good for your liver as well to eat those greens. We have chard over here. I mean, they start to grow here. You see a little baby here. And so within a few weeks I should be able to plant them in the garden. Here, when I start growing in the greenhouse, we have the radish. My favorite herbs are the arugula. I love arugula, I can't get enough. So we have some arugula, and I'll keep planting seeds throughout the summer. And we also have the mustard green here, which is within a week or so we should be able to add the mustard. I also use a lot of those greens to juice. Okay, I juice a lot of my vegetable and also the salad. The salad tastes amazing. So we have here we have some spinach. We have more herbs, which I'm gonna prepare a few pots, and also they're gonna be outside. So it's not just the garden. I use the herbs pretty much everywhere on the property. I'll have some in the kitchen, I'll have some on the patio, and I'll have some in the flower beds. So pretty much everywhere that you walk on the property, there's herbs, all summer. And what else do we have here? We have some lettuce in the back over here. And if you notice in the greenhouse, what the beauty of the greenhouse too is I leave the door open. The ventilation is, we have great ventilation. So the greens really grow fast, and it doesn't take too long. So here I also have other herbs. We have the green peas, we have the tomatoes, which we'll plant in the garden tomorrow. We have the chard, the Swiss chard. I have 3 different types of chard. Okay, so this is one kind, and we have another kind right here. Cilantro, it's another herb that we consume a lot in the summertime, so I have lots of cilantro. We have the beets. This is some chard, but we also have some beets over here. We have some kale and more herbs like the thyme, the oregano. We also have sage. I grow a lot of sage here on the property. And this is also cucumber, which will be ready to plant in a few weeks. And yeah, so this is, I mean, again, it might seem overwhelmed for anyone who never gardened, but I was one of those people. Again, every time I would see my friends, gardening, I thought it was very complicated, but it's really not. Start with small herbs to begin with, and let your kids, your children, involved with the gardening. My niece, well, my husband's niece, Natasha from Ottawa, left a comment on Facebook, and she said the kids would love to garden, and but this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, get the kids involved in what you're doing in the garden. So I just wanted to show you here the garden. So tomorrow, it's a long weekend, so tomorrow I'm going to start planting some of the herbs in the garden. So and then in the back, I will bring you in the back perhaps next week, and I'll show you how I use my compost. And we have a system. I mean, it's a very simple system, but I'll show you that. So let me know. I mean, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you're doing in your kitchen, what type of herbs you're growing, and if you're planning to do a garden this summer. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment.